Okay, welcome in one and all. A little behind on the reviews, so here we go, getting caught up. So now take a look at Tuesday's action from the NHL. There were 12 games on tap, therefore 24 teams were itching for 2 points apiece. Starting with the teams you see on your screen as the Arizona Coyotes went into Montreal to take on my beloved Canadiens. All right, let's take a look and see how this game unfolded. So in the first, Yoel Armia would get his 10th of the season, assisted by Newhook and Waugh, 7 minutes and 52 seconds into that frame. After 20 minutes of play, it was 1-0 in favor of Montreal. In the second period, Harris would get his second goal of the season, 4 minutes and 52 seconds into that frame, making it 2-0 at that point. Kerfoot would cut the deficit in half to 2-1, getting the Coyotes on the board. That would be his 9th goal of the year from Moser and Schmaltz, 7 minutes and 42 seconds into that middle frame. After 40 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of Montreal. In the third period, Tanner Pearson would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 5th goal of the year from Harris and Jake Evans, 5 minutes and 14 seconds into that frame. Bustad would cut the deficit to 3-2, scoring with 5 minutes and 37 seconds to go. That would be his 13th goal of the year from Michelli and Kieserling. And Nick Suzuki would add an empty net goal, his 23rd of the year from Armia and Jake Evans, with just 3 seconds to go on the clock. So 4-2 be the final score in favor of Montreal. With the victory, they're 23-28-8. Again, no postseason action this year. And speaking of no postseason action, it's looking very grim for the Arizona Coyotes as they've now dropped to 23-30-5. All right, the next matchup took place in Detroit. We had the Red Wings, and they were playing host to the Washington Capitals. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. In the first period, Shane Gostisbehere would kick things off, getting his 8th goal of the year from Veleno and Perron, 5 minutes and 45 seconds into that opening period. Raymond would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 17th goal of the season from Comfer and Rasmussen with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining on the clock. After 20 minutes of play, it was 2-0 in favor of the Red Wings. In the second period, Lapierre would get his 5th goal of the year, getting the Capitals on the board, assisted by Ovechkin and Mantha, 2 minutes and 9 seconds into that frame. Veleno would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 11th goal of the year from Perron, 4 minutes and 44 seconds into that period. Shane Gostisbehere would get his 2nd goal of the game, his 9th of the year, assisted by Raymond, with 9 minutes into the period, making it 4-1 at that point. Scarboza would cut the deficit in half with 3 minutes and 22 seconds to go, getting a 2nd goal of the year, assisted by John Carlson. And then late in that second period, with just 13 seconds to go, despite the fact that the Capitals were on a power play, JT Compher would get his 15th goal of the year, a shorthanded goal, assisted by Kopp and Seider, 5-2 after 40 minutes of play in favor of Detroit. In the third period, Faber would increase the lead to 6-2, 4 minutes and 31 seconds, getting a power play goal. That would be his 15th of the year from Patrick Kane and Daniel Sprong. Max Pacioretty would cut the deficit in half, getting his 3rd goal of the season for the Capitals. The power play goal of his own, his third 7 minutes and 9 seconds in that third period. Alex DeBrincat would get a 23rd goal of the year from Larkin and Patrick Kane with 8 minutes and 11 seconds remaining. And Dylan Larkin would increase the lead to 8-3, getting his 26th goal of the year from Raymond and Oli Mata. And that goal happened with 5 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the game. 8-3 would be the final score in favor of the Red Wings. So with the win, Detroit's 32-21-6. They currently have the number 1 wildcard spot. As for the Capitals, just after the loss, they're 27-22-9, and they're still chasing that wild card spot, but it's looking a little bleak this late in the season. All right, the next matchup took place in Florida. We had the Panthers playing host to the Buffalo Sabres. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first, Dylan Cousins would open up the scoring for the Sabres, getting his 12th of the year from Greenway and Owen Power, a power play goal, 9 minutes and 25 seconds into that frame. Sam Bennett would tie the game up with 6 minutes and 6 seconds to go, his 14th of the year from Cousins and Montour. Matthew Tkachuk would get a power play goal. That would be his 21st goal of the season from Berhage and Montour, with 4 minutes and 24 seconds remaining. After 20 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of Florida. There was no scoring in the second. We have to jump ahead to the third period, where Brandon Montour would get a power play goal, his 5th of the year, from Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Reinhart, 9 minutes and 41 seconds in that frame. With just over 7 minutes to go, 7 minutes and 16 seconds to be exact, Tage Thompson would cut the deficit to 3-2, getting his 17th of the year from Dahlin and Alex Tuch. 3-2 would be the final score in favor of the Panthers. So with the win, the Panthers are sitting at 39-16-4, first in the Atlantic Division. And with a loss, the Sabres are 28-27-4. They're on the outside looking in. And again, this late in the season, this many points behind in the standings, it's unlikely that they're going to be participating in the playoffs. All right, the next matchup took place in Philadelphia. We had the Flyers, who have had an unbelievable season, by the way, and they were playing host to the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, so in the first period, Brink would open up the scoring for the Flyers, 2 minutes and 22 seconds into the frame, getting his 8th goal of the year from Frost and Mark Stahl. In the second, Nick Paul would tie the game up at 1, getting his 17th of the year from Brandon Hagel, 4 minutes and 35 seconds into the frame. After 40 minutes of play, it was all knotted up at 1. Cue the third period, where there would be an onslaught of goals. Forster would kick things off for the Flyers, 54 seconds into the frame, getting his 14th goal of the season, assisted by Frost. 3 minutes and 8 seconds, Sanheim would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 8th of the year from Cates and Hathaway. 6 minutes and 55 seconds, Walker would increase the lead to 4-1, getting his 6th of the year, assisted by Farabee and Sealer. Stamkos would cut the deficit in half late in that period with 5 minutes and 26 seconds to go, getting his 24th of the year from Braden Point and Kucherov. Cage would increase the lead to 5-2, less than a minute after that, getting his 3rd of the year from Ryan Poehling, and Cam York would increase the lead to 6-2, getting his 8th of the year from Travis Sanheim. So a grand total of 6 goals were scored in the final period. 6-2 would be the final score in favor of Philadelphia. So with the win, the Flyers are now 31-22-7, still sitting comfortably in 3rd place in that Metropolitan Division, and despite the loss, the Lightning are still in a wildcard position with a record of 32-23-6. All right, the next matchup took place in Toronto, where we had the Leafs. They were playing against the Vegas Golden Knights. So these two teams just met the week prior in Vegas, with the Leafs coming out on top. Let's see how this one would go in their rematch. So there's no scoring in the first period. We would jump ahead to the second, where Barbashev would give the Golden Knights a 1-0 lead, getting his 14th of the season, assisted by Amadio and Shea Theodore. Morelli would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 2nd goal of the season from Theodore and Rumpel. Bertuzzi would finally get the Maple Leafs on the board, getting his 11th goal of the season from McCabe and Nylander with 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. And with just under a minute remaining in that second period, William Karlsson would score, getting his 20th of the season from Jonathan Marchessault. After 40 minutes of play, it was 3-1 in favor of the Golden Knights. Marchessault would increase the lead to 4-1 in the third period with 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go. That would be his 31st goal of the season, assisted by William Karlsson. Those guys just seem to play very well together. Ryan Reeves would cut the deficit in half to 4-2 with 5 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. That would be his 3rd goal of the year, assisted by Holmberg. Marchessault would get his 2nd goal of the game, his 32nd of the year, assisted by Pietrangelo with a minute and 37 seconds remaining. And Nick Waugh would increase the lead to 6-2, getting his 11th goal of the year from Theodore and McNabb. And that goal happened with just 31 seconds remaining on the clock. So 6-2 would be the final score in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights. So with the victory, they're 33-19-7, still 2nd in that Pacific Division. And despite the loss, the Leafs are still 3rd in the Atlantic Division with a record of 33-17-8. All right, our next matchup took place in Minnesota. We had the Wild, and they were playing against the Carolina Hurricanes. So in the first period, Dewar would kick things off for the Wild under 10 minutes into that frame. It would be his 8th of the year, assisted by Chisholm and Hartman. Jordan Staal would tie the game up with 4 minutes and 34 seconds remaining. That would be his 8th goal of the year, assisted by Martinook and Slavin. Broden would break the tie with 21 seconds remaining, getting his 6th goal of the year from Duhaime and Ryan Hartman. After 20 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of the Wild. Svechnikov would tie the game up late in the second period with just 25 seconds remaining. That would be his 13th goal of the year from Jarvis and Jordan Staal. After 40 minutes of play, it was all tied up at 2. In the third, Nuisen would break the tie, getting his 13th of the year from Jury and Teravainen, and that goal happened with 9 minutes and 58 seconds to go. And unfortunately, the Wild were not able to tie the game up, so 3-2 would be the final score in favor of the Hurricanes. So with the victory, the Hurricanes are 35-18-6, still sitting second in that Metropolitan Division. And after the loss, the Wild are 28-25-6 on the outside looking in when it comes to the postseason action. All right, the next matchup took place in Nashville. We had the Predators, and they were playing host against the Ottawa Senators. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first, McCarron would kick things off for the Predators, 3 minutes and 23 seconds in that opening frame, getting his 9th goal of the year from Josi and Smith. Speaking of Josi, he would get a power play goal, increasing lead to 2-0, getting his 13th goal of the year from Nyquist and Novak. Batherson would finally get the Senators on the goal score sheet late in that period. With 1 minute and 2 seconds to go, a power play goal, his 20th of the season from Sanderson and Tim Stützle. After 20 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of the Predators. In the second, Josi would get his 2nd goal of the game, his 14th of the year from Nyquist and McDonough, with 1 minute and a half to go, making it 3-1 in favor of Nashville. In the third period, just a lone goal to report, Nyquist would increase the lead to 4-1, getting his 16th of the year from Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly. So 4-1, it would be the final score in favor of the Predators. So with the victory, the Nashville's sitting at 33-25-2. They do have that second wildcard spot as of now. And for the Senators, 25-29-3 after the loss. All right, the next matchup is a battle of two teams in the Central Division, where we have the Winnipeg Jets. They're playing against the St. Louis Blues. In the first period, Sean Monahan, who's been an absolute steal for the Jets, let's be honest with you, with that trade with Montreal, would get his 19th goal of the season from Ehlers, and Josh Morrissey, 8 minutes and 53 seconds into that frame. Dillon would increase the lead to 2-0, 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go. That would be his 7th goal of the year, assisted by Scheifele. Buchnevich would finally get on the goal score sheet just 30 seconds after Dillon scored, getting his 23rd of the year from Scandella and Rob Thomas. Kyle Connor would increase the lead to 3-1 late in that first period, getting his 24th of the year from Josh Morrissey with 4 minutes and 27 seconds remaining. After 20 minutes of play, it was 3-1 in favor of the Jets. In the second, Brandon Saad would cut the deficit to 3-2, 9 minutes and 3 seconds into that frame. And in the third period, Iafallo would increase the lead to 4-2 with 9 minutes and 47 seconds to go. That would be his 8th goal of the year from Ehlers and Monahan. So 4-2 would be the final score in favor of the Jets. So with the victory, the Jets 37-15-5. At best, at this point, they were either second or third in that division. That Central Division is very tight, let's be honest with you. So let's just put it this way, they're in a playoff position. And as for the Blues, 30-25-3, it's looking very bleak for the St. Louis Blues to be making the postseason, unless they can make a miraculous run late in the season. All right, the next matchup took place in Calgary. We had the Flames. They were playing against the Los Angeles Kings. So two teams in the Pacific duking it out. Let's take a look and see how this game went. There's no scoring in the first. We have to jump ahead to the second, where Philip Deneau would kick things off for the Los Angeles Kings with 7 minutes and 52 seconds to go in the period, getting his 11th goal of the year from Fiala and Drew Doughty. Mangiapane would score less than a minute after that, getting his 12th of the year from Hannafin and Markstrom. Coleman would break the tie with 6 minutes and 8 seconds remaining, getting his 24th of the year, assisted by Huberdeau and Christian Tanev. Kevin Fiala would tie the game up late in the second period, getting his 17th of the year from Kopitar and Quinton Byfield, and that goal happened with just a minute and 6 seconds remaining on the clock. In the third period, Sharon Govich would break the tie with 7 minutes and 51 seconds to go. That would be his 21st of the year from Hunt and Peltier. Backlund would increase the lead to 4-2, getting his 13th of the year from Christian Tanev, and that is where we'd stand at the end of regulation. So 4-2 would be the final score in favor of the Flames. So with the win, they're 29, 25, and 5, still on the outside looking in when it comes to the postseason. As for the Kings, despite the loss, 30, 18, and 10 is their record, and they do have the number one wildcard spot as we speak. All right, the next match is a battle of two teams in the Central Division, and we have the Colorado Avalanche, and they were playing against the Dallas Stars. All right, let's take a gander and see how this game went. So in the first, Stan Coben would get his second goal of the season from Wyatt Johnson and Jason Robertson exactly 1 minute into that opening frame, making it 1-0 in favor of the Stars. After that, it would be all Colorado. Kivranta, a former member of the Stars, would tie the game up. A minute, 8 seconds after that, getting his third goal of the season from Cogliano and Devin Tays. Rantanen would give the Avalanche their first lead of the night, getting his 31st goal of the year from McKinnon, 5 minutes and 58 seconds into that frame. After 20 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of the Avs. In the second period, Cogliano would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 6th of the year, assisted by Wagner, 7 minutes and 9 seconds into that frame. McKinnon would get his 35th goal of the year, just under a minute after Cogliano scored, getting his 35th goal of the year from Lehkonen and Cale Makar. Lehkonen would increase the lead to 5-1, getting a power play goal with 5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. That would be his 9th goal of the year, assisted by Drouin and Mikko Rantanen. There was no scoring in the third, so 5-1 is where we'd stand at the end of regulation. So with the victory, the Avalanche are sitting at 36, 19, and 5. Again, they are still in the top three of that Central Division, and despite the loss, the Stars are in first in that division with a record of 35, 17, and 9. All right, next matchup took place in Van City. We had the Vancouver Canucks, and they were playing host to the Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, let's see how this game unfolded. So in the first, Höglander would kick things off for the Vancouver Canucks, getting his 18th of the year from Myers and Mikheyev. That goal happened with 9 minutes and 37 seconds remaining. Besser would increase the lead to 2-0 with 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go. A power play goal was 34th of the year from JT Miller and Hronek. After 20 minutes of play, it was 2-0 in favor of the Canucks. In the second period, Raquel would finally get the Pittsburgh Penguins on the board, getting his 7th of the season from Sidney Crosby, 2 minutes and 13 seconds in that frame. Raquel would then get his second goal of the game, his 8th of the year from Crosby and Malkin. A power play goal to note, 9 minutes and 36 seconds to end the frame. JT Miller would get a shorthanded goal for the Canucks, giving them a 3-2 lead just over halfway through that period. That would be his 30th goal of the year from Elias Pettersson and Demko. After 40 minutes of play, it was 3-2 in favor of the Canucks. In the third period, Lars Eller would tie the game up, getting his 11th goal of the year, assisted by Puustinen and Chris Letang, 9 minutes and 45 seconds into that third period. We would need overtime to decide a winner in this one, where Erik Karlsson would get the game-winning goal. That would be his 8th of the year from Lars Eller and Riley Smith. So they would come back and win in overtime. So with the win, the Penguins are still fighting for a playoff spot, 27, 21, and 8. And despite the overtime loss, the Canucks are still sitting first in that Pacific Division with a record of 38, 17, and 6. All right, the last matchup from Tuesday took place in San Jose. We had the Sharks. They were playing against the New Jersey Devils. So in the first period, Stern would kick things off for the Sharks with just a minute and 43 seconds to go. That would be his 4th of the year, assisted by Barbanov. After 20 minutes of play, it would be 1-0 in favor of the Sharks. In the second, Bratt would tie the game up, getting his 22nd of the year from Meyer Hischier, 3 minutes and 29 seconds into that frame. Less than a minute after that, or sorry, I should say just over 30 seconds after that, Jack Hughes would give the Devils a 2-1 lead. That would be his 19th of the year. Ball would get his first goal of the season for the Devils with 6 minutes and 52 seconds remaining. Assist by Hischier and Jack Hughes. So after 40 minutes of play, it was 3-1 in favor of the Devils. In the third, Colin Miller would get his third goal of the year for the Devils. Assisted by Hischier and Meyer, 2 minutes and 41 seconds into that frame. Smith would make the game 5-1 at this point, getting his third of the year from Palat and Tierney. Mercer would increase lead to 6-1, 6 minutes and 57 seconds into that frame. That would be his 16th goal of the year from Jack Hughes and Marino. Hischier would then increase the lead to 7-1, getting his 20th goal of the year from Bratt and Singelheiler, 7 minutes and 57 seconds into that period. Bailey would finally get the Sharks their second goal of the game, but was a little late at this point, with 7 minutes and 27 seconds to go. That would be his fifth goal of the year from Carpenter and third. So 7-2 would be the final score in this one. So with the victory, the Devils are sitting at 30, 25, and 4, still on the outside looking in when it comes to the postseason action. As for the Sharks, the season just can't end soon enough. They're 15, 37, and 5. All right. That takes care of my recap from Tuesday's night of the NHL. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, take care.